If someone's lost out in the wilderness, it's nighttime, it's dark, they're hungry, they're maybe wounded, they're maybe frightened. They see in the distance a fire. That's a beacon of hope. That's a promise of community, of love, of food, of first aid. Campfires are beacons for outsiders. Today, we're going to be introducing a kind of new campfire type of experience for us. And it's one that we think is going to be helpful in the uncharted territory that we're living in. We've been using that language to describe the post-Christendom world that the church finds itself in the 21st century, in which the future looks very different than our past. And maybe we need new tools in our toolbox, not to replace all of our other tools, but maybe we need new tools because of the moment we're in. Last March, this woman, Joan Blades, came to Boise. She was invited in by BSU to do a one-day seminar. Joan introduced us to something called Living Room Conversations, and we're going to be talking about that as a new kind of campfire for us, Living Room Conversations. And while she was here, her publisher reached out to Pastor Try, our founding pastor, and said, while Joan's in town, she would like to meet with a religious community. Could you help that happen? Would you be interested in helping coordinate that? So Chad was at that first meeting with Joan, and you've been connecting with Joan, well, not with Joan, but with the Living Room Conversation movement since then. Tell us what you remember about that first meeting with Joan.
This is basically a tool that she put together with some friends that wanted to be able to connect and have dialogue with people who believed differently than she did. And but then she said, so for this to work, for a living room conversation to work, it takes certain values. It needs to be a compassionate setting. It needs to be peaceful. It needs to be loving. People need to be patient with each other. They need to be listening to each other. And I was listening to her talk about these values, and I'm like, she's quoting the fruits of the Spirit.
Yeah.
We think this is going to help us develop values that we'll take into our other areas. I know I have found that with me. Attending these, I feel like I'm listening better. And I can say, oh, this is a good value, I want to listen better, but until you practice it, you don't really get better at it. And this has actually given me a place to learn how to be a better listener.
I like what you said earlier. You said that this is actually a spiritual discipline.
It is. Listening is a spiritual discipline.
And so this is a place for us to practice this discipline of listening and engaging and drawing in outsiders before we take it to people. But after we've practiced this a little bit, we want to take this to the community. We want to be a place of healing in our city, to bring people together that may think differently, but to break down the tribalism. God is love. And you cannot make God visible to others without loving them right where they are. That means outsiders are welcomed, outsiders find warmth, outsiders are invited into deep conversation, and they don't get burned.